Chuck. Hey everybody, appreciate y'all coming today, and we are talking bobbleheads, specifically Major League Baseball bobbleheads from the early 60s, and also the franchise name odyssey that the Houston team went through. They were founded in 1962. That's when they started playing baseball games in Houston at the Major League level, and it was originally the Houston Colt 45s. They were named after the weapon, and their logo certainly reflected it. Best logo, I think, in Major League history. Colts with smoke coming out at the end of the gun and formed the S on Colts. It was just a tremendous logo, and that lasted about 3 or 4 seasons until the weapons manufacturer themselves said, hey, wait a minute, that's a proper noun, not a common noun. You can't use our name. So they got into some legal wrangling with the Houston then Colt 45s, soon to be Astros, and it forced a name change. But way before that, in 1962, the team is starting to play some games, and they got to have merchandise for people to purchase, including bobbleheads for the kiddies. Well, I brought the prototype today, the white base with the Houston Colt 45 player carrying a baseball bat. Plenty fine, looked like a lot of the other nodders from around Major League Baseball, whether it was the White Sox, Braves, whatever, Orioles, they all kind of look the same. Got a little boy baseball player there with a bat. Houston Colt 45 officials realized, hey, wait a minute, we got some great built-in marketing. Get rid of the bat, let's give the kid a pistol. That's not made up. So what you see here is actually the green base version of the original bobblehead from the Houston Colt 45s, as well as the prototype that they actually went and released later as a regular model because the first issue sold out so quickly. So they wound up both being released as mainstream issues. But the one with the pistol was the actual initial release that was for sale to Houston fans in the area. I also brought 2 more bobbleheads from the later part of the 1960s decade, and you can see that there are so many variations with these as well, whether it's the orange cap, the blue cap, whether it says Houston on the base, Astros, the logos that they have on the uniforms. There's a particularly rare version, if you go all the way back to 1962, it was a black baseball player on the bobblehead, and most recently, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, one of those sold for just over $10,000. So the issues that I have here, the white base prototype from 1962, that's about $300. The actual initial issue with the pistol, with the revolver there, that is closer to $400. You can see later in the decade, those are about $250 to $300 a piece, depending on condition as well. What you'll see in the baseball cards that we have here today, the first few series from 1965 Topps, everybody else had Giants, Red Sox, Yankees, Braves, whoever, whatever team they played for, you had the mascot on the pennant on the front of the card. Every Houston player, it said Houston, because the Colt 45 had stepped up and said, you not only have to change your name, hey, you got to stop printing baseball cards that show the Colt 45 logo on that baseball cap. So the first couple of series, it's just Houston. The final few series from 1965, it says Astros, but you'll notice not a single player was wearing a cap because they didn't have any caps available with the new Astros logo on it. They reached a compromise. There were no lawsuits. The team changed its name, didn't have any baseball cards with the logo showing, and everybody kind of walked away happy. That's Story Time with Chuck Oliver.